Today, I am attempting the impossible. I'm going to give an outline for Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle up until the end of 2023. That means looking back at their normal schedule and putting out my own predictions as to what characters I think will launch in those set time frames. To put this into perspective, even though we're already a quarter of the way through the year, Dokkan will still go on to release 9 more standard Dokkan Fests and 13 more LRs. That's a combination of LR Dokkan Fests, Carnival LRs, and regular LRs. That is a lot to attempt to predict with how little knowledge we have right now as where they might take us throughout the rest of this year. But in this video right here, we are going to do just that. So this list will include the Saiyan Day unit, the beginning of April unit, the middle of April LR, Golden Week, Dual Dokkan Fest, Part 2 of Golden Week LR, an end of May Dokkan Fest, a middle of June LR, the end of June Tanabata LR, the middle of July Part 2 Tanabata LR, the end of July Dokkan Fest unit, 4 LRs released for the worldwide celebration of 2023, a beginning of October Dokkan Fest, a middle of October LR, an end of October Dokkan Fest, an end of November Dokkan Fest, including the Hero Celebration, a middle of December LR, and finally a dual Dokkan Fest at the end of 2023 for New Year's. So here's the fun part. Each of these, I'll be giving myself the ability to guess 3 different options. And then once the final unit of 2023 releases, I'm gonna come back to this video and actually grade myself and see how close I was to properly predicting the entirety of 2023. Now, this is a lot of characters and this will be a ton of summons. So with that said, wait, what was that? That was today's sponsor, Avatar Generations, which is a free-to-play mobile game available on iOS and Android that you can download right now by clicking the link down below in the description. And yes, this is Avatar, as in Nickelodeon's iconic series, Avatar: The Last Airbender. You can join Aang and Team Avatar and their journey across the 4 nations to fulfill the Avatar's destiny in their adventure mode. You can collect new allies to create your own team of favorite characters. From Korra to Suki, all the way to Sokka, they're all there. And speaking of them all being there, let's try out the summons. I have a 5-star guaranteed ticket. I've not seen the animation. I've not seen anything. I'm ready. What? This is a summon animation in this game? Y'all aren't gonna get me for this, right? I feel like I'm watching this show, bro. Avatar State. Yeah, we got Toph. Let's go. And it's worth noting that each character you collect has their own unique set of skills and bending or even non-bending abilities. So collect as many characters as possible and create your own amazing team avatar. Oh, and something super important is that this game has weekly events that introduce new characters to the game. So don't miss out by going down there right now, downloading it again for free on iOS and Android by clicking my link in the description. Let's get back to it. Now, I think what's important to set these up as we go to each release is to look back at least at a few of the releases in those slots prior. This game is now 8 years old. I'm not going to go all the way back to 2015, but we will be looking back to the releases from 2020 up until 2022 to help get us in a mindset of what could be releasing in that time slot. And as I mentioned earlier, I get 3 picks and that's it. Can't just sit here for days spouting out so many things. I get 3 chances at getting it right. It's worth noting I'm going by JP's release date. It is the most predictable and has stayed basically the same for all these years that I'm referencing. So this is the JP schedule that then will fit into some sort of puzzle for global. Nice little keynote there. And first up is Saiyan Day. Looking back at Saiyan Day 2020, that's when we got Transforming Bardock. 2021 was Movie 8 Broly, and 2022 was Majin Vegeta. You know what else happened in 2022? You liking the videos and you subscribing to be here for all these releases in 2023 to see if I'm right. Yeah, we're trying to hit 1 million. Why not? Now, everyone right now believes Super Saiyan God Goku will be the Saiyan Day unit. And more specifically, a lot of people think it's going to be Battle of Gods. Now, a lot of people also think it's going to be transforming, so that way it can be ran with the LR God Goku, which I definitely understand. I do think we've thought this for a long time. I don't think it's that obvious. I'm going to put him on my list. One of my 3 answers is Super Saiyan God Goku. I actually think more specifically, and what's more likely, instead of a Battle of Gods one, is actually a transforming one from the DBS Broly movie. I don't know if it's from the recent Tenkaichi 4 announcement that used the DBS Broly transformation or what, but I feel like it could be that one more specifically. But either way, one of my options, Super Saiyan God Goku. Option number 2, Super Saiyan into Super Saiyan God Vegeta from the DBS Broly movie. That moment just hasn't been represented in this game enough. I don't feel like, I know we have an entire Year 7 LR dedicated to it, but as a duo unit, not a solo unit, and the transformation where he goes up in the sky has just not been touched at all. And lastly, I'm in a Dragon Ball Super Broly mood. Dragon Ball Super Wrathful Broly to set up for potential releases later in the year. This Wrathful Broly literally has one card in the entirety of the game. They easy ate him immediately. So it is definitely time. There's still a ton of stuff they could do with a unit like that. Don't count DBS Wrathful Broly out at all. Next up, we have the April 1st Dokkan Fest. In 2020, this was the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, which was a global first. So it was sort of just like a unit in terms of that. The hype had already happened on the global side. And then 5 months later, we got it over on JP. In 2021 was Videl. And in 2022, Shadits. So with that energy that they were bringing for these beginning of April DFEs, I kept my options a little, you know, just tame. Okay. So first up, Hercule. I feel like a Dokkan Fest Hercule is lurking like in the shadows somewhere, and he's going to drop pretty much at any moment now. And I feel like this would be the perfect time to do that. On top of that, little bonus thing, they could finally do this sort of like Super Saiyan Hercule, like April 1st card. It could be a whole thing. And I think it'd be really cool to see them do that. Next up, Zarbon. And this is just a little bit because Goresh keeps mentioning he wants like a transforming DFE Zarbon. I'm honestly here for it. You look at the releases we got last year in 2022 with Pan, with Yamcha, with Raditz, with Ginyu, characters I never would have thought prior to that would have gotten DFEs, and those happened. So anything is possible as we move through this, which brings me to my next one, and that is Krillin. I think Krillin could be a really good beginning of April release, and a Krillin is absolutely worthy of a Dokkan Fest, if not even a Dokkan Fest LR. I mean, they gave Yamcha a DFE. Krillin deserves a DFE. Now, going into the mid-April LR, in 2020, we had the LR Nappa and Vegeta, which of course had no real relation to the Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku. In 2021, we had Tapio and Minosha, which had no real relation to the Videl. The Videl is a Majin Buu Saga unit. But in 2022, we had the LR Goku and Piccolo, who of course was related to the Raditz release. So I did try to theme these with their beginning of April counterparts. So first up, to match a Hercule, I said, why not an LR Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, or some form of an LR Great Saiyaman, because I feel like it could happen. To coincide with a Krillin release, I said, why not an LR Saiyan? And what they could do is some sort of revival from an LR Raditz into a Nappa and Vegeta. I think that'd be really, really cool. They could also have like an intro of the Saiyan pods like falling from the sky from like the intros. Anyway, I feel like there's some sort of validation to that possibility of that unit. And then to coincide with a transforming Zarbon, why not an LR Frieza? A mid-April LR first form Frieza. We haven't had one since first form LR Frieza in the game from like 6 years ago. Dude, that unit is SCR Frieza is so old. So there is our sort of part 1 and part 2 of April, which brings us into Golden Week. Our first dual Dokkan Fest I'm gonna have to try to predict here. So looking back at 2020, that was Gotenks and Buu. Honestly, can't believe that those units are that old. In 2021 was the GT Goku and GT Vegeta. And in 2022 was the Goku and Gohan and Cell. So looking into this year, I feel like U6 versus U7 is just sitting there on a golden platter for them. So this is another one I feel like is definitely like looming in the shadows somewhere, that a new DFE hit or DFE U6, something of that nature somewhere. And then also a transforming Super Saiyan Blue to Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku that could also potentially utilize the new standby mechanic where Kaioken can only be used for so many turns, but he's like godly during that phase. And then he leaves that phase and then he's back to just Super Saiyan Blue. I feel like that could be very, very cool and a really cool utilization of this standby mechanic. The other one, and this is the one I have like most of my money on, and I've seen a lot of other people think this too, is a baby Vegeta and a Super Saiyan 4 Goku. And more specifically for me, I'm thinking a transforming Super Saiyan 4 Goku, because we need a new GT Goku, just like base Goku, that will link really well with the Year 8 unit. Right now, the best link buddy for the Year 8 Goku and Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta is the STR Kid Goku, and that unit is very old, needs, honestly, an Easy A, which I guess could come from this, and the entire just category itself really needs a buff, right? Like GT units in general just need buffs. So we need this. And on top of that, baby Vegeta is so deserving of a DFE. I can't believe it's been this many years and he hasn't had one yet. So this one is the one I have most of my money on. And then my last prediction is Evo Blue Vegeta and Topo, like a God Topo DFE, you know, and like no transforming, just straight up boom. He's in Evolution Blue Vegeta. And honestly, with Topo, I guess Topo could be transforming, but I feel like just boom out of the gates, DFE God Topo, like, come on. Which then brings us into part 2. Is a little interesting because in 2020, JP did not get an LR in May, because actually Global got the LR in May, which is the UI sign Goku that JP would not get until the middle of June. But then in 2021 is when Golden Week started being synced up, and that's when we got the LR Super 17 that was related to the GT Goku and GT Vegeta. And then 2022, we got the Dokkan sort of what if moment of Goku and Gohan that of course was related to the Goku, Gohan, and Cell release for Golden Week. So I made mine coincide with these releases as well. So for my U6 versus U7, I made a sort of Dokkan What If card where it's like a Kaba and a Vegeta that would do maybe like some sort of Gala Gun thing together, very similar to a Vegeta and Trunks unit, but it's Vegeta and Kaba. And that, of course, did not happen during U6 versus U7 at all, but it would still be related. And if it's not that, then maybe some sort of like Super Saiyan into Super Saiyan Blue LR Vegeta. Then to relate to the baby Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku during Golden Week, why not an LR Oob? We have the free-to-play one, but we don't have a summonable LR Oob, and I absolutely think he's worthy of one, and it would fit the theme for sure. We actually kind of already have that unit. Well, we have the transforming one, but like even more specifically, we literally have Oob over in Legends that has like the art I would be kind of picturing specifically for this unit. And then to match an Evolution Blue Vegeta and a God Topo dual Dokkan Fest, why not just give us a Universe 11 card? It could just be like a proper LR Pride Troopers. I think that would be really cool to see happen. Now we're at end of May. So end of May 2020 was the Keflas. That related to the UI signed Goku that didn't release in May for JP, but did in June. And 2021 was Kid Gohan and finally some form of a summonable Garlic Jr. And in 2022 was the ROF Goku and Vegeta. So for my end of May Dokkan Fest, I have, because why not keep with the theme we've been getting so much of lately, a Movie 7 Z Warrior. So Trunks, Vegeta, and Goku versus Super Android 13. I think it'd be really cool to see them make a unit around that. And I think that this is maybe the time slot to do it. Next up would be a false Super Saiyan Goku. Now I will say, I think it just could be a Goku from the Slug movie. I want to preface that I don't know that false Super Saiyan is ever going to make a comeback ever, because from what I understand, it was sort of like a false translation of what Super Saiyan was supposed to be, because that movie was made like they didn't know what was going on with it specifically. So that's why it's called false Super Saiyan. So I don't think they like recognizing that as a form, but I could see it being some sort of Slug movie Goku. And then lastly in this slot, because I do think a lot of TOP will be represented this year, a Tournament of Power Android 17 and 18. And I want to take a moment to note here, how I'm having to do these is obviously also having to set up the part 2, because sometimes the part 2 is related and sometimes the part 2 isn't related. A good example of it not being related is most recently in November/December of last year, we got Yamcha as the DFB, and then the part 2 Carnival LR was Goku from the movie special of Eradicate All the Saiyans. There was no connection there at all. So as I start telling you my mid-June LRs, if they're just basically reversed, I'm probably still gonna give myself points. I'll just be honest with you. I would love to invite you guys down below to the comment section to start predicting of your own. Give me your full predictions or just predict worldwide or whatever it might be. Would love to invite you guys to do the same thing as I'm doing right now in the comment section, and then grade yourselves, because I just think this stuff is so much fun. So with that said, the mid-June LR for 2020, as we already said many times now, was the UI signed Goku. For 2021 was the LR Intelligence Piccolo and Goku that was related to the Kid Gohan that released. And then 2022 was a Golden Frieza that was literally related exactly to the ROF Blue Boys. So with mine, as you can probably already presume what these are, my mid-June LR to relate with the movie 7 Z Warriors is of course an LR Super Android 13. I feel like this is the year of androids, maybe. I don't know. I feel like we're going to see a lot of representation from Android, probably building to the thumbnail of this video. Yeah, maybe. But also, I think a non-transforming, just straight up Super Android 13. We haven't had an Android 13 in forever, literally since 2019. And I think it's time that we see one come back, and in the form of an LR would be sick. Now, my second one in this time slot is a stretch, I feel like. An LR Slug. Slug coming out immediately as an LR seems a little crazy, but I felt like putting it here. You know, it would fit with a Slug movie Goku. So, a part 2 mid-June LR Slug. Why not? Now, to fit with 17 and 18, piece of the puzzle doesn't fit entirely, but it is still Tournament of Power related, and it's an LR and Eraza. We've not really had one yet, like really any representation of Annie Raza in the game, so why not just boom, debut as a mid-June LR. And that brings us to the one that's like the craziest to predict. The first like real big release, right? The Tanabata LR. This slot is pretty highly regarded. The units that release here maintain their relevancy in the meta for quite some time, so trying to predict this is crazy. In 2020, the LR was Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku and Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta. In 2021, this was the Tech LR Gogeta with that absolutely beautiful OST. And in 2022, you haven't forgotten them. It's Trunks and Vegeta. They're still like a top 5, for sure top 10 unit in the game. So here we go. My first Tanabata LR is an LR Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 that has some form of a standby skill where Gamma 1 goes full on defensive mode. Gamma 2 goes in the sky. You do the key sort of mechanic that we've had now with Majin Vegeta, and with the Majin Buu Saga LR from part 8, you gather key orbs, and then Gamma 2 does his core breaker move. That I feel like is inevitable at some point. Why not right here? Next up, Super Vegito. What are they doing with Vegito? Like, I don't understand. The physical Vegito EZA, trash. I'm sorry, I just didn't like it. They didn't EZA the STR Vegitos for an EX part of the year 8 anniversary, so he's obviously looming somewhere. That EZA is sitting somewhere on a shelf ready to go. So my guess is there is a Vegito somewhere in this release schedule. Why not as a Tanabata LR? And lastly, and distilled directly from Legends, a revival UI Goku, because why not? He is so sick in Legends, and we need to see that in this game now. And that brings us to our part 2 of the Tanabata LRs, which I think this year we'll see the introduction of our first Carnival release for a part 2. Again, they love Tanabata. I don't think it's going to be a standard gold coin LR. I think this will be a Carnival LR release for part 2. In 2020, it was Jiren. In 2021, it was Janemba. And in 2022, it was Zamasu. So literally all boom, 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 directly related to their part 1 counterparts. So can you guess what the Tanabata part 2 Carnival LR I think will be? Selmax. Now, I will say on this one specifically, because in the past, the part 1 Tanabata unit has always been a super type unit, I could see Selmax being a Dokkan Festival as well. So I feel like the Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 and the Selmax slot is very interchangeable because, again, as it has always been super, I could still see them switching it up and making it be an extreme Tanabata LR for part 1 and letting the Carnival, because again, Carnival is still an LR on another level at this point, and letting it be the super type. And yes, I'm aware Jiren is the super type LR for part 2, but he's still like, he's super, but you get it. Next up to match with Vegito, you already know what's up. An LR Buuhan, but he just straight up is already Buuhan. Now, I think it would be really cool if they had some sort of mechanic that would take him into Kid Buu, and we would finally get like our LR Kid Buu. But either way, an LR Buuhan out of the gates, no transformation, just boom, he's there. They still have so much stuff they can do from that fight for both Vegito and Buuhan, especially when you start adding in games and all of that. There's so much is sitting there ready for them to take advantage of. And lastly, it makes sense. An LR transforming Jiren, why not? It would match right up with UI. I want to take one step back and talk about Super Vegito. I still think there is a really good chance that we see a utilization of the standby skill with fusion mechanics. This new standby skill, I really think it can lend itself to fusion so heavily because they could make it to where it's a Goku and a Vegeta unit. You stand by and you do the fusion, whether it be dance into Gogeta or Protara earrings into Vegito, and then you're literally Vegito or Gogeta for 5 turns, and it's just like the most busted thing ever. Like literally, once you do that, you should finish any at least current content in those 5 turns that you're fused. Like that should be the level of just insanity that these units would be. And again, as we've mentioned, Tanabata LRs are very much so meta defining units that they could do that here and it would make sense and it would be fine. So I hope to see something like that, like genuinely. Now, once Tanabata is over, we do get one more Dokkan Festival exclusive unit before the worldwide celebration. So the end of July unit in 2020 was Tech Ultimate Gohan. What a release, man. What an absolute Chad of a release. 2021 was Super Vegeta. So like, that's why when we got to 2022, it was Pan. I was like, Pan? What? Because like, there's just too many crazy releases then. Pan, she was okay. You know, nothing really wrong with Pan, but for me, like to get Ultimate Gohan and then get Super Vegeta, those are 2 crazy releases. So I'm keeping the energy of the Pan. I think that's probably the new step they're taking towards that, coming off that hype of Tanabata and throwing in one of the lesser quote unquote hype characters. Again, nothing wrong with Pan, but I just feel like she's not a Vegeta and she's not a Gohan. So I'm throwing out here Tapion. I think Tapion is a pretty good one. I've not mentioned EZAs in this. Obviously, some of the EZAs that are sitting on the table have played a role into some of these that I've decided to choose to put into their positions. And for Tapion specifically, the LR Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, is just sitting there on a silver platter ready to be EZA'd. So Dokkan Festival Tapion, I think, makes a lot of sense right here, or something from movie 13, and could even be earlier in the year as well. My other choice for this slot could be a DKP. I think a DKP is also probably sitting somewhere ready to release. I do think that we will see more Dragon Ball, maybe not a ton of Dragon Ball, but definitely a little bit more, especially if you haven't been paying attention. We're actually getting some Dragon Ball representation for the new Kakarot DLC. So, and just to be honest, I think DKP would be a really good choice here. So DKP, and then to go back to sort of like could be potential hype type character. They've not done a whole lot with like the actual tank top version of Future Trunks. So something in relation to that, and there's still some animations they could take from Kakarot, I feel like. So yeah, Yeah. And that brings us to the craziest part of this whole video, Worldwide Download Celebration 2023. This is a crazy one because I have to predict a DFB LR for part 1 and a Carnival LR for part 1. Then again, another DFB LR for part 2 and a Carnival LR for part 2. Oh! And so if I get any of the themes wrong, I'm just, boom, done. So for 2020, big year, by the way, Super Vegito and Buuhan. 2021, Super Saiyan Goku and Frieza. 2022, Super Saiyan Goku and Cooler. So for 2023, oh, dude, my first one, so bold of me, but in movie 8, Super Saiyan Goku and Broly. The single punch that Goku does to Broly has no representation in this game, like, at all. I'm actually kind of blown away at how little they've done with that. Now, when it comes to the Broly, I know we just got the intelligence one, but I feel like between games and between everything like that, there is still stuff they can do with Broly. And of course, it is Broly after all. And I do think that if this isn't worldwide, we are going to see a dual Dokkan Fest with these two characters at some point sooner than later. And so why not here? Next up, and this is where we get a little bit repeating. I tried my best not to, but I'm so confident on some of these that we're going to see them. A few got repeated. Is a Revival UI Goku and a Jiren. Like, I'm so convinced that that is going to happen sometime this year that I'm actually honestly throwing, because I should be trying my best to get as many different things as possible, to get as many points as possible. But I do think that if a Revival UI is not Tanabata, it will show up either in Worldwide or at New Year's. I'm like that confident that we will see that at some point in time. So a Revival UI Goku and a Transforming Jiren. And finally, and the one I think would be maybe the most, I think this would be the most exciting, truly, just because it's been so long, is a Vegito Blue and some form of a Rose and Zamasu. They don't necessarily have to fuse, but as something with a new LR Rose. I feel like we are due up for the 2019 Rose ZZA. I feel like we are due up for a new Rose in general. And the last time we got any representation from them was the Zamasu last year, but not just pure raw like Rose. So, and Vegito Blue again has been MIA for literally since year 5. So over 3 years since we've had a Vegito Blue release in this game. I think that that could be the time. Which brings us into part 2, which in 2020 was a little different because we only got one LR, which is the Physical Angel Vegeta, because that's when they revamped the LR Majin Vegeta there. It's when they were still doing revamps. In 2022 was the introduction of 2 LRs, which is where we got the Revival Int Namek Vegeta into Goku, as well as the maybe most forgettable LR release of all time, which is the LR Krillin and Gohan. You're probably like, who? Yeah, exactly. And in 2022 was when we got the new format with Carnival LR and Dokkan Fest LR. It was Dokkan Fest, Super Saiyan Goku and Vegeta, and the Carnival LR Meta Cooler. So obviously these have a theme to them almost always. So I think they would follow up a movie 8 Broly and Goku with a movie 10 Gohan and Broly. Now it could also be, I don't want to say it, but it could also be a movie 11 Bio Broly and Gohan and Goten and Trunks. But if you're like, wait, they do back-to-back Brolys? Bro, look at what they just got through doing in 2022. If they did back-to-back Gokus, because there's Goku and then Goku and Vegeta, and then back-to-back Coolers, because they are different. They are different Brolys, for sure. So I can see them doing movie 8 and then movie 10, and they're hype, but they're not so much like anniversary hype, because when you're trying to predict these, there's a level of it that you go, man, would they go that far? Because that could be 9th Annie, which is where I kind of landed with, you know, the UI Goku and Vegito Blue are both anniversary headliners, but there also could be worldwide too. It's such a weird line to draw, right? But speaking of what could be anniversary headliners, to match Revival UI Goku and Jiren, why not give us a little bit different, a Goku, Frieza, and 17 unit? That way it could be aligned with the current Goku and Frieza. They could reintroduce EZAs because that unit was EZA'd so long ago. This could be the first unit they re-EZA. It would link up, it would run well, it'd be awesome. And there's like standby skill stuff they could do. There's so much they could do with a 17 Goku and Frieza that I'm also confident we will see this somewhere soon too. And then to match with that, a Universe 11. Now that's not the same before as with, like I said, Pride Troopers. That's like a full-on U11 unit that probably has a bunch of cool different mechanics that eventually probably ends up with it being a Jiren. But I could see them doing something cool with the standby skill, the active skill, revival, transformation, some form of a U11 unit that would still link well with a transforming Jiren, work well with him, but be different enough. And lastly, and I literally just made this anniversary level with the part 1 and part 2 picks, but to match a Vegito Blue and a Rose, give us Gogeta Blue and Dragon Ball Super Broly. Most peak part 2 of a celebration literally ever, dude. You can't tell me Dragon Ball Super Broly is not sitting somewhere over there at Akatsuki right now, bro. What are you doing, Akatsuki? Why are you doing this to us? I just want to do Dragon Ball Super Broly, bro. Anyways, that's my part 2 predictions for Worldwide Celebration, man. which brings us to the beginning of October DFE, which in 2020 was actually pretty crazy. I loved this unit at launch. Golden Frieza. It was the transforming Golden Frieza. 2021 was the transforming Kefla. That unit had crazy animations. And in 2022 was one of the most broken units they've ever released, Kid Goku. So I really do think they could build on a potential Gogeta release during Worldwide. So I'm guessing potential for a Super Gogeta here. We've not had just like a standard Super Gogeta release in a long time. And I 100% could see, I don't think they'll go back and ever make a Gogeta Blue a DFE again. I don't think they'll make a Vegito Blue a DFE again, but I could see them still making Super Vegito or Super Gogeta into standard DFEs to sort of fill slots and still be hype. So I could see Super Gogeta being a DFE at some point. So why not put him right here at this beginning of October slot? If not him, a Android Saga transferring Vegeta. We don't have any representation for like Vegeta like pulling off Android 19's hands. So they could do stuff with that. Realistically, the only real true like good animations we have of that are the LR Imp Prime Battle Vegeta. And I don't know, there's just a lot they can still do with Vegeta going Super Saiyan and just yes. And then lastly, and this is sort of to piggyback on my pre-worldwide celebration unit, Tapio, we could get a movie 13 Super Saiyan 3 Goku that could be maybe transforming or something to relate back to Easy Yang, that Tech LR SHA 3 Goku, or just in general. I feel like this is a moment they really haven't done in a really long time. I mean, since the DFE like Tech one that released in 2017. Oh my gosh, that I pulled with my wife. Dude, yeah, that's crazy. See, so that's why I feel like this is like a good time to potentially bring that back. And I feel like that post Worldwide Celebration section is one where it's still a moderately hype unit, but not crazy hype. Which brings us to our mid-October LR. Now you're like, Nano, it wasn't an LR last year. I know. Let's talk about it. So the mid LR release in 2020 was the STR Turles. 2021 was the sort of like Dokkan made animations Hit and Goku, the Super Saiyan God Goku and Hit. And in 2022 was the switch up with Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 Dokkan Fest on the same banner. Now I think they'll just go back to the being an LR release, and I went a little crazy on this one. This is where I feel like they could just, this is my wild card section for sure. LR Omega Shinron, hear me out. I don't think he's gonna be a part of a main celebration anytime soon. And we just got the year 7 as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, so he doesn't really have a counterpart since they also just what they do with year 8. So I feel like if an Omega Shinron LR is like lurking out there somewhere, he's going to release randomly like here in a mid-October release. I really do believe that. And to piggyback on that, pour one out for Kid Buu right now, bro, because I'm saying Kid Buu right here too, man. Why not, dude? LR Kid Buu, he's got to be somewhere on my list. And again, I think they haven't got an issue with him. I don't understand, man. Now here's the thing, I want to explore this one just a little more. Now I thought about making this be my worldwide celebration pick because I still believe that a transforming Super Saiyan 3 Goku is going to happen at some point. But the fact that we just got the Super Saiyan 3 Goku and Vegeta from the Majin Buu saga as part of the little year 8 DFE LRs, I don't think they're going to immediately dip back into that specific Super Saiyan 3. I could see Super Saiyan 3 from movie 13 because he's not drastically different, but it's substantially different. But another Majin Buu saga Super Saiyan 3, and especially an LR, well, I want that like so bad. I want them to properly animate the Super Saiyan 3 transformation that first time up in the sky with Babidi and Buu. Like, so bad. It's probably one of my most, if not my most sought after card in this game right now, besides the DBS Broly. Like I think it would go DBS Broly, standalone Gogeta Blue, Super Saiyan 3 transferring Goku. But I don't think he's here and now. And also I almost have a thing that I just don't even know if they would even pair him with an LR Kid Buu because it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. Obviously, like that's not the Super Saiyan 3 that fought Kid Buu. That's the Super Saiyan 3 that fought Majin Buu. So anyways, so that's why if there's going to be a Kid Buu release this year, I think it could be somewhere just absolutely random and totally unexpected, like this time slot. And speaking of totally random, LR Goku, Krillin, and Roshi. It's a unit that they teased forever ago. We've never really gotten. Some people mention it with the year 6 unit because Goku and Krillin are behind the Roshi there, but I think it's not the same thing at all. So why not here? And that brings us to our end of October DFE. Now for 2020, this was Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So again, they're still willing to let some of those more hype units be TURs. So don't think some of these are just impossible to be TURs. In 2021 was Transforming Trunks, and man, was that unit a fumble. And in 2022 was the Bardock, which I don't think was as much of a fumble, but I don't know. Is this section like a little cursed? Like they're like okay units, but not like extraordinarily good units that release in this section. Am I about to curse these 3 units I'm going to throw out here? I feel bad now because I actually went a little more diverse with this one. But first up, we have a Piccolo. I feel like a DFE Piccolo's got, like, I know we just got the LR Piccolo from Superhero, but there's so much they can still do with Piccolo. There's so few like main character releases that are Piccolo. So it's like, why not give him a DFE right here? And if not Piccolo, then let Beerus have a new one. And specifically, I think they're a little strict with the Hakai. Like we've just seen Hakai so little like throughout the game since when was that Hakai episode? Like 2016, 2017? I mean, it's been a long time ago at this point. point. And still, though, I think there is something they could do or workaround to incorporate at least that version of Beerus into a character. Why not here? And lastly, and I feel like we just haven't seen him in a long time, Gotenks. Like, I know we got one with Piccolo for year 8, but it's not the same as giving him an actual DFE. So why not be a Gotenks at the end of October? Now that brings us to heroes. I'm not going to chronicle heroes, but I do want to just throw out a possible thing here. I would love to see either a Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, an Evolution Blue Gogeta, or you like combine those as like a duo unit. I want to see the first introduction of LRs, by the way. I really do. I think that it's time. Just let it happen. Give us an LR Heroes crossover unit, especially after the, I'll say it, pretty lackluster release of characters in 2022. I feel like that was a sad year. I feel like the last 2 Heroes crossovers have been kind of sad. I don't know. They were not nearly as good as I feel like as they were in 2021 and prior. And my last one for this, again, to throw out 3 predictions, would be the Super Saiyan 3 Rose, because he just looks sick. So let me have him in the game. So now it's time for the end of November DFE. Now, this is one that is a wild card and a half, man. 2020 was Bojack. 2021 was the Tech Androids. 2022 was Intelligence Yamcha. So I went, this maybe might be my craziest one of the year, but Tien, because it fits with the Yamcha section, so why not? I feel like Tien and Krillin have got to be coming up on something, whether it be an LR or a DFE, especially like a Neo Tri-Beam from Cell Saga would go crazy, dude. Oh my gosh, that could be a really sick DFE. I don't want to say these next 2 out loud. Actually, I like Garlic Jr. DFE Garlic Jr., give that man some respect. Okay, he had like, it was a filler arc, but still, he's cool. You can still do some really cool stuff with him. He was a little wasted as a side bearing unit, I'll say it. The next one, though, I'm genuinely scared will actually happen, and I'm helping will it into existence right now by even speaking his name, but Dr. Willow. I need to say anything else on that. I feel like it's coming, bro. Like, we're missing so few cards in this game at this point that he's one of them. I could see it. So we had a change last year with our mid-December LR. It has typically just been a regular LR, but they decided to make it a Carnival LR. So whatever is in this slot is most likely a Carnival LR. In 2020, it was the SSJ2 Bojack Gohan. In 2021, it was the Future Trunks and Future Gohan. And in 2022 was our Carnival, yet again, LR Super Saiyan Goku. So in this slot, this is the one time I'm going to cheat just a little bit, okay? Because I'm going to say either a Super Vegeta or a Super Trunks, because I don't think it has to be totally related. However, that would be kind of related to Tien, kind of. And so I'm saying both of them. I don't know if it'll be one or the other or combined, but I could see that. Super Trunks, not represented very well in this game. I mean, he has some okay cards after their Easy A, but not crazy. You know what I mean? And Super Vegeta, I'm so sad to say it, but he's kind of fallen off. And I feel like we could see an Easy A for him at some point within the next like 12 months. It seems quick, but the year 5 like main units have already Easy A'd. So I feel like anything could happen at this point. And so since that one fits semi-ish with Tien, why not we let one sort of fit with the Dr. Willow and let there be yet another Carnival Goku, or it could be some sort of Carnival Z Fighters type unit of some sort. But I feel like we could see something in that sort of style from the World's Strongest. So yes. And then lastly, and I'm putting it on here twice because I want to see it happen. Freaking A, dude. Just give Gotenks an LR. Okay, a Carnival Gotenks. It makes no sense. But again, last year it didn't make sense from Yamcha to the Carnival Goku. So let Gotenks get an LR. Yes, I'm repeating a choice yet again, but it's because I want to see it happen as well. And for the last one, yet another incredibly difficult one, New Year's. Dual Dokkan Fest. Do they keep them LR since they made them LRs last year for Superhero, or do they bring them back TURs they've been every year prior? For intents and purposes, I'm going to say they're all LRs. And typically in this slot, they are like a versus type of unit. There's 2 units that fought each other, basically. You look back at 2020. Actually, I'll go back even one more year. A bonus for this one. In 2019 was the Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 2 Goku that fought each other. One obviously goes into MV, one goes into Super Saiyan 3 Goku. In 2020 was Pikkon that had the partner super attack with Gogeta and Janemba. In 2021, one of my absolute favorite releases was the transforming Super Saiyan 2 Goku into Super Saiyan 3 Goku and the Kid Buu. And in 2022, which literally just 3 months ago, was Ultimate Gohan and Piccolo, both as LRs. They sort of changed it a little bit, but it was just sort of to fit with the superhero theme. Again, the change we also had in October with the Gammas replacing what used to be an LR. I think this is just a situation where this was like a special occasion, and we'll go back to it fitting the versus style of release. So first up, I think it's due an LR Bardock versus an LR Frieza, especially after having the Kakarot DLC. There's some new stuff they could probably pull from, and I don't know, it just feels like the right time. An LR Mecha Frieza, because we don't really have any proper representation for Mecha Frieza in this game. I know we have the other LR with King Cold, but I don't know, I feel like that's another underutilized character, and they could still absolutely do stuff with him, as well as of course an LR Super Saiyan Trunks. I know we already have that one, but there's it's Trunks, dude. They can still do stuff with him. And then lastly, and I feel like this is maybe the most likely, especially coming off the heels of superhero stuff and potential more superhero stuff, and a Cell Max, is an LR Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and an LR Cell. Now, I didn't mention it earlier, but if you're like, oh, Nano, they can't do an LR Cell Max, he's big. Dude, no, they can absolutely do one. They've done Janemba, they can do Cell Max, it's fine. They're gonna make a way to make it happen. He's the main new villain of the newest Dragon Ball thing. They want to utilize and capitalize on that. An LR Cell Max or some form of a Cell Max, I fully believe will be playable in Dokkan at some point within the next like year, for real. But LR Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and Cell, I think, is a very highly likely situation. Probably not make it transforming so they link well with their counterparts from Worldwide Celebration in 2019. They just got through EZAing them on both Global and JP. I think it is an opportunity to bring them back and have them represented somewhere in the schedule. So we're gonna come back to this video at the end of the year and we're gonna see how many of these I got correct, if any at all. And I'll even probably look at some comments and see if any of you guys got it correct as well. It's gonna be a ton of fun. And again, don't forget that today's video is being sponsored by Avatar Generations, which you can download for free on iOS and Android by clicking my link down below in the description. Guys, download it for free. And thank you, Avatar, for sponsoring today's video. And thank all of you for watching. Here's another awesome video to watch and enjoy if you're in the mood for some Dokkan. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.